Hello friends, my name is Brad Beard, owner and winemaker for Mercury Wine, located in downtown Geyserville, California, one of the most premier wine growing regions on the planet in the heart of Alexander Valley. Welcome to Pairings with Brad, where today it's going to be actually more of a technique video. This is a spatchcocking a turkey video, mainly a technique video versus recipe, because you guys can season your turkey the way you want, but it doesn't matter how well it's seasoned if the bird is dried out and it doesn't taste, it's not going to taste good because of that. So it's very important to get the turkey cooked properly, not so much about the actual seasonings itself, because most of those are pretty classic. But why is spatchcocking so important? It adds more flavor. Why is it adding more flavor? Because when you open the bird up, the skin is going to get a better browning, and with that better browning, you're going to add more flavor. That's nice. The other really cool thing about spatchcocking turkey is that it's not going to dry out, because you're not going to be spending 3-4 hours in the oven and all the little small parts are drying out while you're trying to get that cavity of the turkey up to temperature. So no, we're not going to be stuffing the turkey with any of the fun stuffings. We're going to do those stuffings on your stovetop. That's easier, it's faster. Nobody's probably going to die if you do it that way. But the most important reason why I love to spatchcock all of my birds, you can do this with chicken as well, is because it reduces the cooking time. This bird said that it was going to take 15 minutes a pound to cook. With spatchcocking, we can reduce it almost down to 6 minutes. It'll probably run around 6 to 7 minutes per pound for this bird. We cut the time in half. That means that you don't have to get up at 3:30 in the morning to start preparing your turkey. You can sleep in and be fully rested for your day of entertaining. Sorry, I'm very thirsty. This is my Viognier, by the way. Absolutely fantastic. Lots of great stuff. So let's go ahead and get going. We've got a medium-sized bird here. Usually we do a bigger bird, but because of the time that we're living in, there's not going to be as many people. So we're going to do a smaller bird. And so this is a 16-pound bird. Before I remove some of the parts, so it's going to be a little bit less, and we'll adjust our cooking times with that. The other really important thing is that turkeys need to be brined. I don't care how you cook them, you've got to brine them. Look up any brining method you want. This one was really simple. It was a cup of kosher salt, it was a cup of sugar, and it was about a 1/4 cup of peppercorns. We shoved it into a great big pot. We filled it up with water with all those spices in there. And then we filled it with ice so that the bird would stay at the right temperature. We let it sit outside for 24 hours. If it's hot in your neck of the woods, put it into a cooler, because the size of this turkey, even though I've got a pretty large fridge, we couldn't cram it in there. So put it in a cooler. Make sure you're staying safe with that. So rinsed and dried, very important, because you got to get that the heavy saltiness off the side. But what is spatchcocking? Spatchcocking, what we're going to be doing is we're cutting the spine out of your bird. And then that's going to allow us to lay it flat. And this is how we're going to get all that skin cooked properly. First of all, I suppose you got to find a spine. Not many people, you don't always see these guys. Here's your wings over here. This is actually your back, because you can feel the spine running down there. It is, there's not a lot of meat, where if the guy was flipped over, here's these nice big juicy breasts on this side. So since we're cutting the spine out, we got to flip it over. Reminds me of if anybody remembers that movie, White Squalls. That was a lot of fun. And anyway, so we got to get this turkey, the backbone out of the turkey, so you can look down inside and you can see, okay, we've got basically have our rib bones running around over here, and we've got our spine running down the middle. I've got some very awesome kitchen shears, and so they're going to be able to cut through those bones pretty nicely. But when we're cutting through those bones, we could have some splinters, so we're going to have to search for those a little bit. And if that doesn't work, we've got our giant knife here to do some smashing in there. So I'm feeling down here, so we know the spine's right down the middle, and we don't want to take too much of the meat, so I'm just going to kind of feel just a little bit down, and we're going to start snipping away. Those bones crunching, yum, yum. Oh, see, we're getting in there. I might actually need to get we're right up on the shoulder right now, coming down through there. I think I can work my way through. Uh-oh, we might need the big knife. This is what we need. Or I can kind of come around here. All right. I might come around here first. Oh, I'm not. Oh, here it comes. All right. This is where you know that I'm a winemaker versus a butcher. All right. We really had to get with it. I was about ready to start giving a little hack. You can do that as well. Probably not safe for children right now, although it was right after Halloween. So we're just going to keep working our way up, and all we're really trying to do is get up here to the neck. So we're going to pull that down. Oh, yes. Get in there, get up on top of it. There we go. All right. You can see, maybe you can't, maybe you can. There's still some ribs over here. We'll go ahead and probably snip those down as we go along, but we're going to keep working on the main part here. Coming back in on this side. Right down underneath. You can feel where the rib bones start. So that's where you want to go. You don't want to leave a whole lot of meat here, but we're going to use this when we're cooking our stuffing. So this isn't going to get wasted, or you can use it for making turkey soup and stuff like that later. All right, so we're still on that same where the chicken wing here is trying to connect in. We've got a nice big bone right there. I'm going to try to go around the back side. Come on. Get it. Oh, all right. We're going to have to go for the big dogs. This is easier on a chicken, so don't be discouraged. This is just a little bit of work. Come on. Right away, I can feel that we've gotten through. All right, let me just go right back to snipping. Keep on snipping. Another pro tip: if you have a butcher that you like, have your butcher do this for you. It can save you the carnage on Thanksgiving morning. Oh God, it's just cracking and a snapping. There we go. Oh, we're almost there. Oh, look at that. Okay. All right. So we have successfully removed most of the spine. And like I said, there's still some things along here. And since we had to chop and hack away, there can be a little bit of bone spurs in there. So we're going to feel around for those, cut off the things we think we need to, and we'll give it one more quick rinse so we don't have to deal with that during cooking or choking on them later for dinner. So here's the rest of the ribs. We just don't need them. There's not a lot of good action in there anyway. Come on, cooking shears. There we go. So as you can tell, I'm not a professional, but that really wasn't that hard. You can do it. I know you can. So we're going to get all this other little nasty stuff out. Now this bird can lay down nicely. So I'm just feeling around to see if there's any sharp bones in there. Okay, here's something that's still connected to a little bit of the tissue. And I'm just going to trim that out. Fantastic. Awesome. I'm going to get rid of this real quick. Excellent. Now I'm going to flip it over. So I'm just going to do a little more. This isn't so pleasant, so there's a little bit of the neck skin. But I am going to save this neck skin, and I'm going to put it. Oh my gosh! I'm going to put that in the oven with this, just in case anybody wants some extra crispy skin, because this recipe is going to make it crisp up fantastically. All right, so here we go. As you can see really quickly here, this bird is now lying down nicely flat, but I can push it down just a little more. Perfect. So it's nice and flat. It's going to go in the oven fantastically, but give me just a couple of seconds. I'm going to rinse this off to make sure that we don't have any bone shards, and then we'll get this thing seasoned up. Right back. All right, so we got the spine out, but this breastplate is still intact, and we want it to lay as flat as possible. So here we go with the big knife again. Give it a nice big chunk right down the middle. One more time, and one more. Let me see. There we go. Now this thing is going to lay perfectly. Here's another more little chunk of bone. We'll get all those pulled out, and now we are ready to go. Okay, we're back. We gave our little bird a bath, and we got all those little bits and pieces of bone washed away. We repatted everything dry. That was a whole lot of work. So I'm going to go back and get a little bit of my Viognier. I've also got my Albarino. The reason why I've chosen these two wines is one, because one of them is going to go into this recipe and cook with the bird, and two, because it's going to pair great with the bird later in the afternoon when all your friends arrive. Beautiful aromatics, not as heavy as a Chardonnay, but not as deep as or not as bright as a Sauvignon Blanc. So you can see the bird is laying flat. That's exactly what we need. We've got this little bad boy all broken open. Everything's laying down very nicely. But before we start seasoning the outside, I want to do one little bit of seasoning to the inside. So we've got this all this beautiful skin. And I want to add a little butter to the mix. So I've got a little salt and pepper here with my softened butter. I'm going to mix that up a little bit. And I'm going to peel this. Sometimes it's easier than others. I'm going to peel this skin back from the breast. So I'm going to get in there. There's a little bit of connective tissue that's preventing me from getting all the way down, because I really want to get deep in there so that I hope you can see that. So I've got it nice and wide open so that I can put a little bit of butter up in there. All right, here we go. So we're going to massage that nicely, get the butter all the way down. There's a little part I didn't quite get, so I'm pushing the butter all the way down to the top of the breast. This butter is going to help us out with our gravy, at the end of all of this. So don't be shy, pack a lot of butter in there. Remember, the whole goal is to have the bird taste good and be juicy and not be dry. There we go. It's a little messy. So we'll tuck those chunks up in there, and then we'll pull the rest right back down. There we go. I typically have it just a little more thawed so that it is almost like a runny butter, but we can tuck that guy inside there. All good. We're getting the salt and pepper. We're patting it all the way around nicely. We can tuck some more in there in just a little bit. But then as you can see, if you do it right, you can push this skin back down, so that's going to protect the breast, and that's also going to keep it from drying out. And then these legs are going to pop over to hold it down. So there's that. Give me a couple more seconds now that I've made a huge mess. I'm going to wash my hands up and we'll get this thing seasoned. All right, our breasts have been buttered. Now it's time to flip this baby over, get some seasoning on the backside, and this is the deal. This is why your bird may not be seasoned properly every day when you're doing it whole, is because you can't really get in there and season it perfectly. So look at this. We've got everything's nicely opened, and we're going to get a lot of flavor on there. So we're just going to go with me for a classic. We've got some salt, we have pepper, we have onion powder, garlic powder. Then we've got our sage, we've got our thyme, we've got all those savory herbs. Of course, we've got a little cayenne over here. And then I'm going to top it off. I've got some bourbon smoked paprika because this is going in the oven, and I like to add a little smoky flavor to it. So we'll get going on that. And then don't be shy with the salt or anything else, because this is a lot of meat that you need to season. And don't forget to get into those little armpits or wing pits or whatever the heck those guys are. I'm going to put a little bit of more butter in there. There it is. Season it up. It's going to take a lot of seasoning because it is a big bird. And don't worry if you're missing a spot or two. We're going to rub a little olive oil on this in a minute or two. And then that olive oil is going to help all this stuff stick. So we need to do the olive oil on the top of the bird so that that skin comes out beautifully crispy. All right. And we're just going to do that smoked paprika to the top of the skin. All right, that's looking pretty good. I think I got a spot here and here. Down in the side, looking all right. Okay. Now for this guy, now for the skin, very important. We're going to need to hit it with a little oil first, and we're going to rub that in so all that skin is going to crisp up perfectly. birds don't have a lot of fat in those skins, so you need a little bit of extra fat in that bird and get all those nooks and crannies so that it browns up really nicely. And make sure if those thighs are sitting over on the side that you're getting that as well. And then we're just going to repeat. Okay, give me just a second. I'm going to go ahead and season the top of this bird, and we'll be right back. All right, we've got our super sexy bird all seasoned up. Again, use more sage if you like more sage. Use more rosemary if you like more rosemary. I'm a little bit less on those. I think those aromatics go a long way. Now we're going to transport this guy into our cooking pan. Any type of roasting pan will work. Notice the rack's not in here because the way I like to do it, and this is actually put more of the recipe side of things, this is where I'm going to put all my aromatic vegetables in the roasting pan and use that as my rack. So it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So we've got 2 large white onions. We're just going to disperse them throughout. We have got 1 whole stalk of celery. Probably don't need it all. Doesn't matter. And then we've got 8 carrots, just chopped up. Trying to keep everything in. The carrots are not going to cook at the same rate as these other things, but this is not really part of the dish. This is just adding flavor to your gravy and aromatics to your bird. I'm going to say that 7 carrots are probably going to be fine. And then just a couple of orange peels because that nice orange zestiness is nice. We're going to lay that down in there, disperse them around so that it can give some nice orange essence to your bird. Fantastic there. And these vegetables need to be salted and peppered as well because as they're cooking down, that salt and pepper is going to be cooking down with them. So sprinkle a little salt. Sprinkle a little pepper. Absolutely fantastic. We're pretty much ready to go to get this bird ready. Now, I would do this probably an hour or 2 before I'm actually ready to cook the bird so that I can just have all this hard work out of my way so that I can start working on all my sides. Because it can absolutely rest for an hour or so. So let's grab this bad boy and get him in. All right, I have to grab him by his feet. Come here. Yeah. Uh-oh, some butter escaped. We're going to get that butter back in there. So we're going to have this come around. We're going to be tucking these tips in so they don't get messed up. So we're going to see how it all works nicely. I'll go ahead and get this butter back in there. Come on. Yum, yum, yum. Stay right there. Perfect. All right. Here we go. What's really important now is remember, the skin is going to help keep the moisture in. So tuck that skin down where we peeled it up. And then the legs are going to sort of pin it down as well. You don't want the leg up over the top because that's going to restrict this area from cooking properly. So just tuck it down into the side. And if there's some more skin that needs to be moved around, what we're going to try to do, I might actually just take these guys off because they don't look like this is one strong bird. We're going to tuck that down. The wingtips are coming off. Because these things, if you can't get them tucked under nicely, then they're going to burn. So I'm going to need to cut those off. Can I get my scissors back? Thanks, off-camera helper. Otherwise known as screen time, if you know me, and my happy hours. All right. This stuff's just going to go into, we're going to go right into the joint is actually what you want. Just get right into the joint there. And these guys are going to go into the stuffing as well. That's going to make it cook ever so much perfectly. On the turkey I did last week, they tucked in nicely, but that just wasn't going to happen. So you move the bird around. You make sure that you've got this nice bed of your aromatic vegetables. And if you can see it, why this is so amazing. Besides the fact that it's going to cook so much faster. So you've got this absolutely perfect bird that's all flayed out. All the skin is facing up, so you're going to get a beautiful crustification on there. Now it's pretty much ready to go with one last thing. I've got about 4 cups of chicken stock here. I'm going to put in about 2 because we're going to be cooking this bird at a pretty high temperature, and it could burn your vegetables if you're not careful as it's going. So right now I have my oven preheating to 425. That's nice and hot. I know that when it dings, it's supposed to be 425 in there. Let it really get to 425 because when you throw this bird in, you're going to really want to have that nice hot temperature in there to help start crisping everything up. And that hot temperature, anywhere the actual meat is exposed, is going to seal up all those pores to keep in all of our moisture, and that's really important. And then as this stock is being cooked down, it's going to start steaming the bird from inside. So it's all ready to go. At whatever point you want to throw the turkey in, it's going to need to be at 425. We're going to do 425 for the first 30 minutes. And then we're going to let it go. We're going to turn the oven back down to 375 for the duration of the cooking. And I am not a big fan of spritzing it every half an hour because every time you open the oven up, you have a different temperature. You know, it lowers the temperature, it raises the temperature. I think that if we can reduce how many times we open the oven door, the more evenly the bird is going to cook. We are going to open it a couple times because we're going to add some wine close to the end. Once this bird gets really nice and brown, we don't want it to go overly brown. So if it's getting to the point where it looks like we're about to burn the skin, we're going to want to tent it. And that's a great time to add either Viognier, a cup of Viognier, or a cup of albarino to the mix as well. So here we go. We're going to get the oven ready to go. We're going to get this bird into the oven. I'll see you probably in a few hours. Sorry, one last thing. We're going to go over the cooking times one more time. I did it earlier. Oven, 425. We're going to be doing that for 30 minutes. This is a 16-pound bird. I'm suspecting it's going to cook at about 6 minutes per pound. 6 minutes per pound. That means it's going to be 102 minutes of cooking time. So probably we're going to be tenting around 80 minutes, but we're going to be looking at it. Don't open the oven, turn your light on, look inside. Watch that skin get nice and crispy. If you've got a thermometer that works inside the bird and outside, that's great. We're going to get this turkey breast cooked to 150. That's really, really important. One last thing is that you will have some carryover cooking involved, or you can pull it out of the oven and serve it right away. So if all your sides are ready, get it to 149, a little bit of prep, ready to go. If your sides aren't quite ready, 145, tent it, and it'll carry up to 150. But you want to make sure the breasts are 150. That means the legs will probably be at 165, and that's okay for dark meat. I think we've got everything. We got our chicken stock in there. We went over the temperatures. We want crispy sides. This is going to be fantastic. All right, my friends. I will see you probably in an hour or so as things are getting crispy.
Oh, hello, friends. We are back. We were shooting for a 102-minute cooking time, but we ended up with a 95-minute cooking time with an internal temperature of 153. All right, so what happened while we were cooking? We started out at 425 degrees. We let that go for 30 minutes. We bumped the temperature down to 370 degrees. We let that go for another 40 minutes. And at that moment, we had an internal cooking temperature of 140. But hey, I'm looking at the video now. Look how nice and crispy it is. I'm pointing out it's a little crispier on one side than the other. And I'm going to pull out, there we go. I just wanted to make sure I didn't lose the temp at my little thermometer. So I'm rotating it around, but wow, actually now that I'm looking at it, look at that fantastic color. Oh my gosh, that skin is getting crispy. I'm blinking my eyes a lot. I don't know why my eyes are so blinky. I really don't know what I'm saying right now, but I'm pretty sure I'm talking about how nice the color is. But the really important part is right now I'm going to grab a spoon and I'm going to start basting it. I know, I remember what I was saying. We didn't open the oven until then. You just want to let it cook evenly. That's the most important part. So I'm grabbing not a turkey baster. I've got so much juice down there. All I need is a spoon. So we're going to go ahead and cover that with those nice juices. And then as soon as I think I've got enough juice done and I want to get my kitchen dirty by throwing a dirty spoon just up on the counter, that's what I did. I decided to grab albarino. And I wanted to add the albarino because it has a nice minerally characteristic to it. It has some nice melons. It also has a little bit of apple in there. So we're throwing in a quarter cup over here, probably less than a cup. Could have handled a cup, and I know this now because I've tasted the sauce. And I've got enough browning, but I don't want it to burn. So I'm going to struggle with this piece of aluminum foil, and that struggling is making me really angry right now. But I decided to give up on it and don't care if it's actually tinted perfectly because I'm being filmed and I was trying to get it done right. Now I'm just going to close the door and pretend that didn't look like I was an idiot. And right now in my mind, you can see my eyes flashing back and forth. I'm like, Jesus, Brad, couldn't you possibly put the tinfoil on properly? Actually, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I know that's what I was thinking about at that time. But I'm going back to talking about, getting a turkey cooked right. All right, we're back, and I'm trying to lip sync, and I have no idea what I'm saying. But I do know these things for sure. We let this bad bird go for 95 minutes when I pulled it out. And at that point, I had an internal temperature of 153. Actually, now looking at the video, I was describing I didn't want to pull it all completely apart because I really wanted to jump into the breast meat, but I wanted to show you how amazing that skin looked so that you can see that this is why you want to spatchcock your turkey because the skin color is just absolutely fantastic. And who doesn't want it super crispy? And I think in just a second, I'm going to try to start up that leg and then it just falls off. That's the other great thing about spatchcocking is that you know you've got a great cook when the meat just falls apart like that. Okay, I'm thinking about something. I'm talking about something I really can't remember, but it looked like it's important. Um, Let me see. We talked about that. Oh, one other really important thing is that after we took it out of the oven at 153, it took me about 15 minutes to create my gravy, get everything reset up, and take the video. And at that point, the internal temperature was up to 170. Most likely, you'll get it to the table at 165, which is a perfect temperature where you know you're absolutely safe. But now that I really don't know what I'm supposed to say, I'm thinking, geez, those pumpkins I put out front look really nice. I like that. I might be talking about how good the albarino is going to pair with other things, or I'm going to start right. Oh, I've got the cleaver. Here I go. Oh, I was going to use the cleaver, and I just realized. Okay, inside my brain, I just realized I don't need the cleaver. The leg literally just fell off. And look at that. Oh my gosh. I think I set it down. I was like, well, okay. All right, the leg fell off, but then I just realized that the leg wasn't going to, or the wing wasn't going to fall off. And then I also realized that the skin was going to fall off as I was trying to cut. So right now I'm filling in with, I'll just lay the skin to the side and the people that want it can have it. But the really important thing now, okay, I'm back into it. I'm cutting it. You can actually see the juices running out. I didn't inject this turkey with extra juices. This is just how naturally juicy this breast comes out. And because I didn't cut the wing off, I'm really struggling carving the breast, but that's kind of funny. And then, oh, I mentioned I don't even know what that little piece is. I just had to hide that because it was really gross. I think it was some extra skin. Anyway, I've got that now put out of the way. I'm going to try to plate this. And actually, while I was doing this, I was trying to think. I wonder if I could. No, I can't. No. Maybe I should. Can I stab it? Oh, there we go. I was thinking, I could just grab it and then I use my fingers, but I won't do that when you come to my. Sorry about that. But okay, so that was my internal struggle. Now I've got this fantastic pot of gravy, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I'm pouring it on. Gosh, um, thinner gravy, but you'll notice it doesn't matter. Notice it's not running everywhere. It's just thick enough so it's not running around the plate. I absolutely did not say that. But now I'm thinking I probably should have some wine, so I'm picking the albarino and I'm discussing or letting you know, wow, look at those aromatics. They're amazing. I smell beautiful minerally apples and some pears. And then look at that. Oh, really, really good. I'm going to slurp that down. And then here we go. I've got to go in for a bite. I had some comments from the gallery. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is really important. I don't know what I'm saying right now, but this is the truth. That turkey is cooked so perfectly. It is so tender and so juicy. Most turkey that you're going to have is going to be dry and crumbly. You notice it wasn't dry and crumbly. Oh, okay. Great reaction, Brad. Okay, that's the truth. I'm not faking that, by the way. That is some really good stuff. A couple of hand claps in the background. And I'm just explaining that it is tender and juicy and absolutely perfectly cooked. It's not dry at all. And the flavors are just amazing. Honestly, at this point, since I already know what it tasted like, a little more sage and thyme would have been nice. But that was just my fault on how I actually seasoned it. And now I'm talking about the albarino, those nice minerally characters. Oh wow, look how great! I'm impressed. Who made that wine? Holy mackerel! Wait a minute, maybe I should use a little bit of finishing salt. So I'm grabbing finishing salt, and then I'm telling you that finishing salt is just a giant flaky salt. Flaky salt that is large isn't as salty as salt that's. So you have these big chunks, you can throw them over the top, and it's kind of like Parmesan cheese. Now I'm thinking, why do I want the Viognier? The Viognier has a little more aromatic. It's got some nice jasmine and honeysuckle. I'm digging in. Look at me digging in. Oh, wow. Who made that wine again? Look at that expression. That wine is delicious. Super impressed me. Um, nice, minerally. Oh, I was saying that it wasn't quite as heavy as a Chardonnay, but it's not as light as a Sauvignon Blanc. And if you'd have heard the real words, it was I couldn't get that out. So it's not as light as a Sauvignon Blanc, but not as heavy as a Chardonnay. And now I'm getting in there. Oh, I'm cutting it up smaller because that last bite I almost choked because I put a giant, stuffed a giant piece in my mouth. Now I'm like, oh, great job, Brad. I can actually speak. Oh, delicious, yum. Turkey's really good. I've got to go back to the turkey. It is amazing. I'm so proud of myself. So proud of myself that I made a super juicy turkey that I had forgotten to talk about the Viognier. At what point? Oh, yeah, am I going to think about the Viognier now? Oh, I've got finger quotes out. I don't know what I finger quoted, but I'm really thinking about the turkey. Actually, at this point, I was so proud of myself making a juicy turkey that was tender. Um, I'll tell you about the Viognier. The Viognier is just awesome. It's got that beautiful jasmine and honeysuckle. It's got that nice crisp apple. The pear is running around in there as well. My Viognier is not cloying because I don't have any residual sugar. And then I smack it down the honey. Oh, I was smacking down the sugar. And now I don't even know what to say except I think we're winding up. I don't know how much longer in the video we've got, but I'm doing a quick wrap up. I think I'm asking you to please give spatchcocking a try. It just makes the turkey taste so much better. It doesn't need to cook for 15 hours. Turkey cooked for less time isn't as dry and has more flavor. Oh, again, I'm looking at okay, the video's done, but I can just see myself thinking, geez, Brad, you make some great vignette. That's all we've got for you guys today. I certainly hope you guys give this a try. Thank you for your patience, and I hope this voiceover worked for you.